Greetings to Royal Highnesses and honorable leaders who are with us today. I am Alfonso Waradi Chris, one of the senior African princes who are appointed by God to help us. I'm from the Bavira Kingdom, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I believe that there is a calling of God in different African kingdoms. Reason why we can see in front of us a share, Crown Prince John Twaibu Mndala Chimbalanga too. A very courageous person, as we can see what he is doing in South Africa and outside. It is by calling, not by appointed, normal appointed. It's by calling. God called him to be at this position and heading all the entire Wayao. It's my pleasure to be standing in front of you leaders of the highest hierarchy to share more concerning the journey to establish the Wayao house in Malawi. Dear brothers and sisters, the power of some African royal houses is so neglected, really so neglected. As we had the secretary say, the Wayao Kingdom is so neglected. There is no royal house. How are we going to be a kingdom without royal house in Malawi? How are we going to be a kingdom without a head? We see the chief. The chief are representing chiefdom, not kingdom. So for us to be a kingdom, we have to come back to where the one left us stopped. So to continue with the anointed by God's new leader, commander-in-chief with a spear and a strong stick to lead the nation. There were kings from all over the world. The mission which brought them here in Africa wasn't to work with the kings of Africa. They came to destroy. This is why today Wayao Kingdom doesn't have a king. The kings and the queens of outside Europe and some other places, they came to destroy. And they really destroyed. When we speak about Wayao Kingdom, everyone doesn't care, doesn't even listen. When some Wayaos are crying, are trying to share their pains, how it's painful to be who they are till today, where they are in Malawi, no one is understanding them. We will not really keep quiet forever. Time will come for all the nation to decide and to put who they want to be there, as is already among us. Dear brother, we cannot be much tradition at one hand, and we don't have a royal house at another hand. True. When I was investigating the history which I shared with my colleague Chris. I can see Wayao, they are much tradition and they respect the culture. Really, they respect it. They respect the tradition. But now, we come to have a problem when it comes to the one that's supposed to be sitting on the throne in the house. There is no king. We have to find one king and a many chief in the kingdom. The king is the head of the entire clans in the kingdom, and the chief is the head of the entire clans in the kingdom. It's the ruling system from many years. Dear brothers and sisters, I was born in a royal house, and I learned a lot. So what we're sharing here is the truth as the ruling of Africa. The chief with the chiefdom, all the clans, there is a chief there with all the clans according to his side in the chiefdom. With the kingdom, we see many chiefs behind him to help him. He's the one that are helping all the chiefs. And the chief is the head of the entire clan. It's a ruling system for many years. The African traditional leaders, there must be respected in the entire Africa. The African traditional leaders must be respected in the entire Africa. When we neglect our African traditional leaders, that means we don't know who we are. We don't know where we came from. And we don't know exactly where we're going when we start to disrespect traditional leaders. You're gonna hear in many countries, a chief is like nothing. No one even think about who the chief is. Even if they want the land, but they don't get even benefit of that what they have because of the system, some system change here in Africa, and it puts many and many chiefs into trouble, and some other kingdoms are affected also. So let's continue learning to each other and respect our traditional leaders. Friends who are here, political leaders in the meeting here, religious leaders in the meeting here, traditional leaders in the meeting here. Are we together in this point of respecting traditional leaders? Let me hear. Are we together in this point of respecting traditional leaders? Are we together in this point of respecting traditional leaders? Yes. Thank you so very much. Let's really respect them. There are some important people in our community and in our life. My dear brothers and sisters, let's talk about the journey to the throne. This is why me and you are here today. Let's share about the journey to the throne. I'm a founder of a media called Africa Up Media 24. We publish so many things here and there. I'm the one, the founder of that media. When our future king came to me and we shared about how can we break now the way to the throne, like a sharing idea, as we met in some African Kingdom Federation the priests and the kings there. I was shocked to hear how he is a crown prince and he's not on the throne. I was so shocked. Then we discussed big matter and how to solve that big matter together. I decided to stand and help as I'm a media personality, I'm a founder of the media. With the media, we can see how we're gonna reach there. That was how we started the idea of helping each other to reach where today we are. I investigated. I couldn't only give him access to the media and publishing this and that without looking deep in the history. I investigated. I have friends in Malawi, I have friends in the kingdom all over the world. My friend, my colleague, let's investigate the future king. We did that by sharing each other who really the person is. The real history is sharing with us is it true or lies. By all our investigation, paying this and that to go and hear the story here and there, we came to the point that the history is true. There is no lies in whatever our future king was sharing with us. What we did, we started from there. That was a big journey to publishing interviews, documentaries, this and that, and we publish and we push all the contents to go in the world so that we can find the power to reach the throne. According to the history, which the future king shared with us, it's a short history, and I would like you, friend here, to hear about it. It says here, the war between King Kalonga and the leader Mndala Chimbalanga. When the Wayao appointed Mndala Chimbalanga to lead them, you know, something only happened which confused the king of Chewa and attacked as a king. It's a short thing which provoked the war between these two leaders. You know, in many African kingdoms, the kings, they used to carry them on stretchers. You have to build something traditionally. You put a chair and you carry a king everywhere he's going. You have to do that. You have to do so. When Mndala, His Majesty, the late Majesty Mndala Chimbalanga, was appointed as a leader over the Wayao. So they made that chair, that stretcher, and they carry him. You know, when you are in a kingdom of another person, and they start to uplift you, they start to carry you, it shows another sound over maybe the next kingdom coming. So, the Wachewa King Kalo, he was not happy to see another leader coming in the kingdom and they carry him. It sounds as the next king now. So, according to the history shared here, the history tells me that the king of Chewa went to the leader of Wayao, and then he says it, all the stuff, the stretcher, everything that he had. due to that jealous, and they took by force everything. It was not good for the Wayao to see how another king coming and to humiliate our leader by collecting all his stuff. So that the people were angry and angry. Second time again, they did the same thing because his king as a Wayao, they didn't like their king to walk. Never. They wanted to be carrying him every time and every moment. Which was burning the hearts. Was it burning the hearts over the Chiwa king? Lately, he decided to go and collect everything that he had for the second time. By going there, he found now the Wayao king prepared for war, joining with another force of Arab in a way to fight for themselves. They had a little dispute when he wanted again to seize the staff of the king of Wayao. That is how the war started. They fought, and he ran away to Zambia. He ran away to Zambia. And the king of Wayao, His Majesty Mndala Chimbalanga, went to stay in central region where the other king was. Where the other king was. And he forms the third kingdom in Malawi. So, from this kingdom here formed by Mndala Chimbalanga, till today, there couldn't be another kingdom to rise. Because he the one fought last war of the kingdom, and he became king, and he could be the last king in the side of other nations. And the one that could come could inherit, he could be now the new king over the Wayao. We have him already in front of us. John Twaibu Mndala Chimbalanga 2. He's the one now to be there. As the secretary said here, no matter how many years passed, no one can erase the history. The history is still there. It's written already, it's published already. Later we're gonna make books and we're gonna share all over. We've done videos, we're going to do the books too, and we're gonna share all over. As we have the history, it means the kingdom is there. And the king, we have already the king in front of us. It's just only a decision over the Wayao. Just the decision of the Wayao, and the king is going to sit on the throne. It was not easy, dear, to create a media platform to campaign for the future Wayao King on different social media. It was not easy. We've done a lot in all social media: TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, all those social media. We made a platform sharing the history, sharing this and that, just for everyone to understand. Because a media is I can say a machine gun. When you want something to go far, when you want millions of the people to hear and decide themselves. We decided to go with the media to help other people understand the voice of the voiceless. We can say that because after some years, almost 170 years to today, there is no king. So it can be, as the secretary said, some politics issue and some politician who wanted to dismiss the history. But the history will never be dismissed because it's written already, it's published already all over the world. It was not easy to group some Wayao in different provinces of South Africa and convince them to learn the true history of their kingdom through His Royal Highness Crown Prince, Chief John Twaibu, Mndala, Chimbalanga. My dear brothers and sisters, I am the witness of what happened. It was not easy to be grouping people here and there and calling the Royal Highness come and teach people here. Different places in South Africa. It's a hard work that had been done. And we can see the fruit because all over, everyone hear the story and they are ready now to welcome the king to come and operate in Malawi. They didn't know now. Now through sharing, through him to go and teach in different places, people they came to understand now we lost, but not again. Let's stand now. It was not easy to introduce the future Wayao King to other African traditional leaders and the world. We've done a lot in different African federation of the kingdoms. We could be going, introducing him here, in the queens, the king, the prince, everywhere. We've done that. Not only in a local, in international rank. Different group, different community, until he became well known and support also of the other African leaders. It was not easy to get attention of the thousands of Wayao in Malawi, Tanzania, Mozambique, Zambia, and abroad. Through the project that we have been doing, we could hear now in Mozambique some artists are playing music and they mentioned the name of the future king. We got future king, John Twaibu, Mndala, Chimbalanga, even the artists of Mozambique. All over we could hear now the song. We could hear on the social media everyone with a photo. Some people even today now they're putting his photo on their profiles, see, on Facebook, on all those social networks. It means we work hard for reaching that level. Okay. We decided again to do something else. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation to help each other, to help the people of Malawi. What we do? It was so difficult to come with the idea to create the Wayao Kingdom Foundation. Register it with the Malawi government to get the access to some funds from the Malawi government and the different world donors to fulfill some objectives. Dear brothers and sisters, we need a king to stay and to stand on the throne. There is so many things needed. So many things needed. It's not as a we can go and put him there. They still need the royal house, so many things. We come with the idea of doing Yao Foundation. So that with the foundation, which has some objectives, we will get some funds, we will get some donors, and we will fulfill what the Wayao need. The Wayao need a king. How this is going to be done? We need funds, we need donors, we need this, we need that. So with the foundation of the Wayao working with the government of Malawi, it can be easy as possible. When it comes to maybe as the secretary said it sounds as some right abuse. How are we going now when we want to fight for the rights abused? A foundation can stand in the name of the Wayao Kingdom and help. So our kingdom foundation got many objectives, many objectives, almost 27. And all those objectives here are to help the people of entire Malawi. Let me read one by one here. With this foundation, we can empowering and developing the local community. With this foundation. With this foundation, we can work with the youth in finding employment solution. With this foundation, we can work for the social development over the underprivileged individual groups and the community in Malawi. With this foundation, we can crack cross cultural dialogue in order to achieve better comprehension of diversity and strengthen mutual understanding between diverse social groups. With this foundation, we can network with other organizations, those provide the same support to the community. With this foundation, we can assist to young people through advancement of education and employment skill development with a particular emphasis on children from deprived backgrounds. With this foundation, we can assist in the arts, where the goal is to educate and expose African culture. When we talk about exposing African culture, it's a good point to share again and again. You know, in Malawi, we have many tribes. And we want everyone to be in peace with other person, nation to nation to be in peace. So with this foundation, we can see how these and there's to put together. We can see how sharing this history and the king coming and sit there. No one will claim we are this and that, we own this throne, while there is a foundation which is there and it got those objectives to help all the community in Malawi. There are so many objectives here, 27. With the foundation, we can fight the rights which is abused. The rights which are abused. Anyway, The foundation will have the capacity everywhere, in Malawi, outside, everywhere. If it is to fight for the right, this foundation can do that. The way to the kingdom throne. How come millions of the Wayao don't have a king? A question to ask me and you now. Today, Wayao are almost 4 million in Tanzania, Mozambique, Zambia, Malawi. Almost 4 million people. Do you think, or do you see this simple to not having a king as a 4 million people? Let's share, brothers and sisters. How come millions of the Wayao don't have a king? How come? Don't you think they are right abused? 4 million don't have a king. Don't you think they are right abused? Don't they deserve him? Friends, Wayao don't deserve a king. What do they wait for? We are here, as are they, wherever. What do they wait for? To go, this is a king, let now from today, government, family, this is a king, let now put him on the throne. And he starts operating. What do they wait for? Their leaders fought for the king throne, and end up winning the war. As I shared the history here, the Majesty Mndala, Chimbalanga fought with the team and had till they collected the position. So do you like that position? Go in vain, disappear like that. After fighting, collecting, you got something in your hand, and then you want to throw it in the sea. Are you happy for that? So after that, who are you going to be? Because you got already a richness here in your hand. You allow again to throw it yourself, and you leave it disappearing. Is that fair? Is that fair? Dear brothers and sisters, is that fair? Maybe because we are in a peace time, this is why we don't know and we don't understand maybe the meaning of the throne, the meaning of the kingdom. Maybe our ancestors, they died, they killed each other for collecting the position, for collecting the throne. We killed each other for that. Bloodshed for the thrones. We are in peace time. So what is a problem now to be on the throne? Because we fought for the throne. Every nation knows their boundaries. Wayao know exactly this throne is ours. And there is no one can come and jump the boundaries. There is a limit in everything. You know exactly this is mine. How do you allow someone to jump the boundaries? Someone now to impose you to not have a king while you have a king. How do you allow that? Every nation has to respect the right to live. over the king throne in Malawi. If you don't have, you don't have. Don't create what you don't have. Don't falsify what you don't have. Someone has right. Put him there. As I said, our ancestors fought so much. We killed each other for the throne so much. The nation will fight for the throne again. The nation not gonna fight again for the throne in Malawi. We don't need fight. We just need things to be passing in peace. Everyone knows exactly how the story is. Many Malawian leaders know this true history that we hear here. Every Malawian leaders, they know this. We pray all the chief to come to welcome the future king and accept to bow in front of him, the new traditional commander, the great grandson of His Majesty Mndala Chimbalanga. My dear friends who are listening to me here today, the chiefs, wherever they are in Malawi, let them for sure welcome the crown prince. Wherever they hear me right now, I'm speaking to the Wayao in front of my eyes, and wherever they are in the world, the chief must welcome the new leader, and they must accept to bow. When someone has a position of the king, accepts to bow, that's it, and they live in peace. It's a needed. It's a calling, and I hope you friends are here will continue sharing this calling. The chief in Malawi, they may call the crown prince John Twaibu Mndala Chimbalanga, and they put him in the position he deserved, and they allow to bow. They are allowed to bow in front of him to show respect that he is the one that's leading them. May God bless all Malawians in the world. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, our Prince, for the history that you have shared with us. I reasonably believe that it is going to enrich our minds as well as our hearts. This has reminded us that politics is a very good friend to the entire humanity. But on the other hand, politics is the greatest enemy of mankind. It is a good friend for mankind because no society can exist without politics, because politics has something to do with the leadership. So whether it is leadership, politics also finds its way in the hearts of the leaders as well as the people. So the bitter aspect of history lies in the issue of Afrocentrism, the colonization of the Western countries on the African continent. If the Western countries did not colonize Africa, Africa would have had a very good political history. But the bitter consequence of the colonization of Africa is the divide and rule phenomenon that has overshadowed on the African continent. The strategy of the colonial master, the strategy of the colonial power after colonization of Africa was the divide and rule strategy. When they came to Africa, they found the African people closely connected to one another. So they had no way to penetrate the African minds because they had their strong leaders. They were living in solidarity. So after reading the minds of the African people, they introduced the system of divide and rule. And that system came up with bitter consequences. That ended up keeping Africa divided from that time up until today. That is the phenomenon that also made our kingdoms not flourish. The same trend is the one that caused our political leaders to lose powers on Africa, particularly our kings, our traditional leaders. So that is what we have learned from our prince when he has shared these political events that had taken part on some parts of the African continent, or African continent entirely. Achalo wachijyangu chakusosa kwatumanyirira chakuti history yana chintu chambone kwa basi chili chintu chambone kwetuwe vandu mpera vakuno kwa Africa. Namposo ni history yana udani wogulunga ijalinganisa kuno kwa Africa. Udani wa history ijaisha kuno kwa Africa nija kuti panda yasungu watochele irambo yawo kuisa kukuika kwa Africa kuno kujigala irambo ya kwa Africa nukutanda kuirambulira. Vai wenu kuti vanhu wa Africa pavali kana kuno vanhu valasungu vasene kuti vanhu wa Africa vakwete maumwenyega. Vakwete vanhu vavalongorera kwa Africa kuno vanhu vamitundu jakulekangana vanhu vachiyawo, vanhu vachingoni, vanhu vachilomwe, mitundu jatumbuka, mitundu jaku Zambia, mwene Mutapa Kingdom ku Zimbabwe. Jere mitundu jira jalamuliraga vanhu vako vachikunda. Namajamanyira pavai iche vai wenu kuti chindu chanana tuviche nika system kakwatendeka savanhu kuti twalekangani. Twalekanga nditwapunga nyemitwe. Mapeto ngavonaka kulekangana nganiso nyitendo. Yeira ni yatendeka sisi kuti mitundu ya Africa, the Kingdom of Mali yakandito kugwa makingdom ga. Makingdom ga Africa gatandito kulwana ulwere gane mpaka nagasimire mpaka lero kile makingdom zo kaungali. Vuto jere ni jatu semeneso ni we kuchirambo chetu cha Maravi Malawi. Kuti umwenye wetu we wajire mje kusimana kuti nu umwenye wandanda kulambulira chirambo cha Malawi panyuma pakutira akalonga King kalonga gawauchi nu umwenye uwasigere ku Malawi na mboli bongo ya politics gijaije nasungu ku Malawi arajitese colonize chirambo cha Malawi basi yajire mje kusimana kuti chirambo chira basi wajire mje kuchigala usi nukujigala mitundu jine jikini jijali ja kutenga ni jikola umwenye nukuja kujivika au umwenye namba umwenye wako pa usabula wa usabule mwakalamuka ngina uwilanga kutima kingdom ligombo wayimanyi kuti nakakulwiranga were umwenyewe nime kingdom kusogolo kwa history gichiuja sona nikuti umwenyewula tuchikasika nambo wakambire kudigala kuti paramount chief traditional authority chenono paramount chief mponda basi wakambire kudigala paramount chief nugaika samano question ija kuti ana paramount chief akusasa manuka kabali bangali king go paramount chief ijo abenyikwenda king ijo samano king ijo alibwa ni vuto jitukwete kumalawi chera icho ni chintu chitendeka sisengwe kuti achakulo ngobade tujimuche umwenye wachiyawo upali nambo umwenyewo ganuwa muwaberere pandanda pandaija ambuje Mndala che Chimbalanga umwenye uwako etenga wadiwere walero umwenye uwako etenga Mndala che Chimbalanga nganuwa utukwete lero kumalawi wache mponda wache makanjira wache jalasi nganuwa umwenye wakwere ukunandi ba umwenye wa ukulumba wa ututire nabo umwenye upa numwenye weleo ni wele utukulimbana na wele lero kuti anache Mndala che Chimbalanga pawawire umwenye wasigere ni bana anawele wasigere ni umwenye wa alikuwa nitwasozire mpaka natwapatire patwapatire kwenda ulire kwa umwenyewa ligongo bangali mtundu ugambire kutama kando watundu bangali benyi peleko kuti uwe atulajire ufulu wetu okupagwa nawo wabeshete tibashikulire bali kuti tulimanye kuti muwedo wanyu wakusoso kwatumanye mundu ja kutulongolera gerebe tusajitenda kuti identity mundu jwangale identity nukuti mundu jopangaji mtundu uli wose ukoleja identity ya mtundu jukusatu ocheraga kumiyambo ya utundu mpaka na kawalidwe ni itendo ya kusate daga bantu jukusama nikaka uta awuntundu wa wachiyawo ligongo kuona limunga unga mtu awuntundu wachiyawo ligongo kusai kaga majana awuntundu wachiyawo ukusaku chikaga sondo ligongo sondo ngenaba usimene kumtundu wine banga wakati wachiyawo jando ngenaba usimene kumtundu wine banga wakati wachiyawo nima peto ngako ikutendete kwa kumalawi mpaka na jando jitandite kumala wadachi wetu wakumbelera kuchipatala ana kuchipatala taka kwechete mwambo wa makolo banga wakamu mwambo wa chisuna sambano yelele kusose kuti wetu iroletese kuti asungu wakamwire mitwe tudire kuti wawechiche macheni ma president bivetu kutulamulira kwa Afrika kuno mundu julidosa president pakunjira kwa Afrika yakusalimbana nayo ngakulimba na yentundu wakwe akulimba na yentundu wechisungu ijiri big mistake sano lero dino achakulumba basi kwene tupitise program yetu kuti kumapeto kwakwepo tuchimanye chintu lina atamase tuli ku South Africa atamase tuli ku America tuli ku Britain tuli ku Swaziland chirambo chine chili chose tuli ngwedu nambo wedu vandu vachiyawo king ndio tuwojo chiyawo jo chatulamulire mpaka malo kutulika tuli ku South Africa kuno king ndio chiyawo akutulamulire na atambo sangoni bali ku Malawi akulamulirwa ni king ndio akuno ku South Africa ligongo king ni king ndio hapo atasa kulane umwenye ku Malawi nambo kuti pakusaka kutenda ichi mpinde yako paka na vanhu wa South Africa vachizulu tivamiranje vakuswazira ndino petaiche vakuzambia ndo petaiche ligongo kukwiringana kwa achivenye vavali kipasi pashaka zulu manjazi wangenda apa vere vanhu vozupende vana pavakwiringana ngachimwenye vozuvevenye vana vane vari ku Zimbabwe akuti kubulawayo kwere kubulawayo kula kwali kwana mwenye diwayishe n'abantu bakwabula wani byole mwenye dibatochere kuntundu washakazu nombeso nukuswazira ndikula maswati gala kwekula biyeyire isukulu ya kutochera mugongo washakazu nombe kumalawi tukweta ngoni doera ngoni bala batochere ku South Africa kuno kuja kuika kwa kuja ku Malawi lero tukandito kwaona pachipepa la inkosi ya makosi gomani na mwenye manyanira akwete ndo kwatochere wakuzambia nodosoni wanangoni bere bantu walapa kusaka kupanganya echintu yawo mambo wakusayiranga na kusubireni nikuchimbanga nikupanganya echintu ana waba chiyawo twaliranga ine shaka panganya samano jere nidani jwa history sano kwenda tumenyana nidani naga uwezo ngatukukamula napa itendo yetu niwe cheto yetu nukuti umwenye wachiyawo ngasukupatikana mpaka kalakala tachika kusa kutulamulira chikapolo uwezo tulialukosi ni basi kwende tupitise programu yetu tuliranje bantu bane bachakulunga kulunga bakutaiteswa tukisa kutugabira malove